Morning. You guys hear me okay? All right. Welcome to AWFS. My name is Jonathan Mills. I am the Vice President of Digital Strategy for a company called Fruition. And Fruition is a digital growth agency. So we work with businesses to help grow their business using digital marketing strategies. And today I want to make sure that you guys walk away with three things after this presentation here. One, I've got a step-by-step plan for digital marketing in terms of places you should be spending your time and money to help grow your business. I've got a whole bunch of concrete examples to show you how it works in application. And then I also included a resources sheet on the back of your handout. Everybody should have a handout, by the way. They've got them outside if you haven't grabbed one yet. On the front side is the playbooks. On the back side are a bunch of resources that I'll be referencing throughout the talk, so you can go back and check those out on your own. One thing I'm not going to do today, though, is try to convince you that digital marketing is right for your business. I'm not here to say, digital is the end-all, be-all. Presumably, if you're in this room, you feel like digital is a channel where you could utilize to help grow your business. And at this point, you're just kind of looking for the right strategies to help grow your business. And so that's what we're really going to focus on. Have you heard a little thing called Google? Obviously, everybody has. We're not here to talk about. I'm not here to sell you to do digital. But what I am here to do is kind of take all of this noise around the digital marketing arena and simplify it down as much as possible and into these playbooks. And I want to make it as easy as possible. So this is Tyronn Lue, coach of the Cavs, and it says leaked playbook, give the ball to LeBron, right? It's like as simple as it gets, and that's what I'm going to try and do today, make it as simple as possible for you guys with these playbooks on where you want to spend your time. Prior to Fruition, I used to run a plywood wholesale business based in Los Angeles. And 15 years ago, this is what our website looked like. And we started utilizing SEO, or search engine optimization, which, getting your website higher up on Google. And, it was very easy to do it back then because, you can see we were advertising for marine plywood. And you can see I would just put marine plywood here, 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 here. And guess what? We're at the top of Google. Well, it's not that easy anymore. And there are a lot more strategies. And so, again, we're going to try and show you the different places where you can get the most visibility, the best chances to generate leads and revenue for your dollar. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take all these strategies and simplify it down into these playbooks. Now, this can be hard to see, I recognize, but you do have the handouts. I do want to point out a couple things about these playbooks. I've broken it down into three different industries: e-commerce, B2C, B2B, B2C being business to consumer, B2B being business to business. And the reason being, the e-commerce playbook is a lot different than the business-to-business playbook. So for example, in e-commerce, we have something like setting up your Amazon store. Obviously, you're not going to have that on the business-to-business side, where case studies might be more important. So what I did was I created this playbook based on each industry, and we're going to go through each tier. We don't have enough time to go through every single tactic. Some of them are kind of self-explanatory, and you should be able to figure it out on your own. But I am going to go through Tier 1 for each industry, and then we'll go down through each one. Got a little break, got time for questions after each tier, so let's do it. Any questions before we get started? All right, let's do it. Okay, first tier for e-commerce. Now Tier 1 is pretty similar for all three playbooks. And so we're going to run through each one just to make sure we don't, so everybody gets addressed here. So keyword and Serp research. Serp stands for Search Engine Results Page, and that is what shows up on Google when you do a search. And what we're going to try and do here with this first tier is really set a foundation for all of our future digital marketing efforts. And so when we talk about doing keyword research and Serp research, what we're trying to do is find the keywords that make the most sense for your business. How are people talking about your products and services? And once we kind of have those keywords that make most sense for our business, We're going to use those on our website. We're going to use it in our future digital marketing initiatives. So I've got 4 ways that we can do some research here. This first one is semrush.com. This is on the back on your resources. This is a great place to get a bunch of information about your products and keywords. So back when I was running the wood business, we were really focused on marine plywood. And so you could type in marine plywood, and it's going to show you other related keywords. You can see here phrase match. It shows you how many times people are searching for them. So this is a really great resource to start to dig in and figure out which keywords make the most sense for your business. This is another option, Google Suggest. So if you type in any keyword on Google, it's going to show you a bunch of other related searches. And this is a great place to go to find information about how people are looking for your business. So you can see here marine plywood, and these are the other related searches here. And the one I want to highlight here is this one, marine plywood suppliers. And the reason I found this one interesting is because when people are looking for marine plywood companies to work with, Google is telling us right here that they're using the word suppliers. They're not looking for marine plywood businesses. They're not looking for marine plywood companies or vendors. They're using suppliers. So when you start talking about your business, maybe on the About Us page of your website, you want to make sure you use supplier. And so that's one example of how that works. Amazon has the same suggestions here. And my takeaway here is that you can see there's a lot of dimensional information here. So that just tells me on that marine plywood page, make sure I include all the thicknesses and the dimensions that are available for each thickness, because that's what Amazon is really looking for, or Amazon's telling us that's what people are really looking for when they're doing searches for marine plywood. And the last one, I recognize this one's not going to be very easy for you all to read, but this is a Serp result, a search engine results page on Google when I typed in marine plywood up here. And the reason I found this interesting is that Google is showing 5 different types of results on this page. Up here, these are product listing ads. These are text ads on pay-per-click. We obviously have the map listings. This people also ask is a featured snippet. And finally, this is just the organic result. And what I want you to do is when you find the keywords that make the most sense for your business, plug them into Google and figure out what kind of results Google is showing, because then you know where to spend your time and energy. So, if I've got a local service and I type in marine plywood and they're showing map listings, well, that tells me I need to really focus my time and energy on getting ranked here in the map listings. So another key factor for ranking on Google, it's very simple. This, again, we're laying the foundation here, but titles and tags. So the reason these are important, I was looking for mountain bike gloves. And when we talk about, for each page in your website, having a title and a description and some tags, reason being, this is what's showing up on Google. This in the blue area is the title right here. And then the little black area under that is what's called the meta description. And the reason this is so important is this is a competitive landscape. All these guys are competing to get that click. So you'll go and look at their bikes, their bike gloves. So it's really important that you write some really compelling titles and descriptions, because you're going to be in a landscape like this and you want people to click on your website to get that next step. The next piece is setting up Google Analytics. Google Analytics is a piece of software that you install on your website, and this is really the foundation for all of the reporting. This is a free software. You just install a little code on your website, and it's going to show you all the information you're looking for, traffic, time on site, where they're coming from, what devices they're using. It's really a foundational piece to measure the performance of all your future campaigns. I will highlight one report that's my favorite report out of all of them on Google Analytics. And it's over here. There's left-hand navigation. If you get to acquisition, all traffic, and source medium, it's a little buried within Google Analytics. But look at this data that it provides you here. You can see these are all the different ways people are getting to my website. Google pay-per-click, organic, direct, Maps, Bing, Pinterest, Yahoo, Facebook. And then it shows you how many people are coming, how many of them are new users, bounce rates, et cetera, goal conversion rates, really important. When you do set up analytics on your website, make sure you set up the goals feature. And goals can be a number of different conversion points, whether that's maybe they filled out a form on your website to get more information, maybe they downloaded a white paper, or if e-commerce business, they may actually bought something. So then you can really track, see what kind of dollars and people are spending through this tool here. It's really effective, and you can see which channels make the most sense. So this last piece is product pages, and this is for B2C and B2B type businesses, it's going to be your service pages, right? But it's really important. This is these are your products. This is your opportunity to really show your business and your products at a high level. And there are a couple elements. For e-commerce, it's not a new channel necessarily, but there are a lot of best practices to be successful. High quality images, that's a no-brainer, right? Let's not throw these little tiny images that look lousy like you took it in your closet or something. This product page does a lot of things that I really like. They're able to communicate a whole bunch of information in what we call above the fold. Above the fold meaning you don't have to scroll down the website to look and find more information. They're able to get all of that above the fold. So you've got different finishes, different colors. They've got their call to action right here and add to cart. By the way, orange is an action color, so that's why a lot of e-commerce websites use orange for their calls to action. They add some additional information, and then I also like this piece here. Other leathers and materials, delivery information, warranty. You can just click on those plus buttons, and it's going to expand if you want some more information. So they can cover everything that you could possibly need above the fold. So this is a great example, I feel like, of a great product page. For the service pages, I think the style has trended more towards storytelling with kind of those longer pages where people have kind of those benefit statements, and then they speak to some of the different problems people have and how they address those before they get to that call to action. So I think that works just fine for B2B and B2C. And let's move on. So let's see, B2B, B2C we covered. Any questions on what we just covered? Again, we're kind of setting the foundation there for a lot of our future efforts before we get into the more complex things. Any questions? Yes, sir.
It's okay if we take photos of the slides.
Help yourself. Question was if you guys could take photos of the slides, and by all means. Anything else? All right. Okay, Ecommerce Tier 2, we're going to go back to the top of the e-commerce slides, and I'm going to focus in on category pages and site speed. Category pages is really interesting. 95% of search results for e-commerce related queries on Google is showing category pages. And why are they showing category pages instead of products? So here's an example. I did a search for some golf bags. And if you think about it, Google is really a user experience company. So when people are doing searches on their platform, they want to show the best possible websites for what they're looking for, the best possible results for what they're looking for. And if you're searching or you're shopping for something, good luck trying to, they're not going to show a single product page for a golf bag because they don't know what you want. People want to go and they want to have options. They want to look at some different solutions. And so that's why Google's showing category pages so frequently for e-commerce related queries. So this is all to say that on your category pages, you want to make sure you've got a great experience when they come to that page. They can navigate down further into their different options. This is a very, very simple example, but I kind of like it. It gives me some visual options to filter down my search. So when I was looking for golf bags, they don't know if I'm looking for a travel bag or a regular bag or carts or whatever. But they also provide the typical left-hand navigation that people like to use to filter their e-commerce queries. So I think this is a great, simple solution. Site speed. This is site speed. When I talk about site speed, there are actually a couple components to making sure your site is really fast. And again, the reason this is important is if you think about Google is a user experience company, when people are doing searches on Google, they don't want to serve you or show you websites that are extremely slow. That's a really lousy experience, when you click through and it just takes forever to load, right? So way back in 2010, they told us that site speed is a factor in their ranking algorithm. So this has been an important piece for a long time, and then even 2018, they kind of changed how they started ranking sites to be mobile first. And again, Google right here, they came out and told us this is really important stuff. On your resources sheet on the back, there are actually 3 tools I provided to test your website. And so if you just go onto those websites, you can enter in your own website, and it's going to give you a laundry list of items that you can work on to improve the speed. It gets a little technical, but hopefully you've got an in-house team to do that or an agency that you're working with to execute on those recommendations. On the technical SEO side, again, Google's told us that there are over 200 different ranking factors for their organic results, and we obviously don't have time to get into all 200, but this is another one that I gave you a tool that you can go in, plug in your website, and it'll give you a whole bunch of ideas for how you can improve your website so you'll rank better there. Last piece on e-commerce is optimizing your checkout page. And again, e-commerce isn't new. There's some really basic elements to a great checkout page. And if you think about it, through digital marketing, we're spending a lot of time and money driving people to your website. And then we're making sure we've got these great product and category pages. And we finally get them to check out, and it's crazy how many people just fumble this step, right? It's incredible. So I want to highlight a couple best practices here. For one, this one kills me when people require you to sign in. I don't want to sign in to buy something, right? I just want to buy something. So I love this. This is actually Walmart's, but no account, no problem. Perfect, I'm in. So then you can continue on. The other important piece is what we call a single page checkout. And the reason this is really effective is before, a lot of times people would go to a page and they'd fill out some information, they hit submit, and they go to another page, and then you go to another page, and you're like, well, how many pages are there, to just check out? And one of the great things about having a single page checkout is we're showing you everything that you're going to need to make this transaction. So delivery and pickup, boom, pickup person, payment method, and I'm on my way. So get all that information on one page through a single page checkout. There's another article on the back about 40 optimal checkout strategies I highly recommend you check out to improve your conversions. We're going to move to business to consumer, and bear in mind, when I talk about business to consumer, I'm really talking about local service providers. I recognize e-commerce is also B2C, but in this case, I'm looking at e-commerce as being primarily online transactions, and B2C being more service providers. So there are a couple key elements here. Google My Business is how you claim your profile online. American Golf's one of our clients. They manage about 100 different golf courses. And it's really important because this is what's going to show up in these listings. So this comes from you. You can go on to Google, fill out your profile, and it's really important that when they give you opportunities to provide information about your business, that you do an A+ job. So if they give you a place to put 10 pictures, use all 10. Don't just put one picture up there. Or if they give you, a 500 character limit, let's make sure we're using at least 450 to talk about your business. So it's really called optimizing your profile. There's another resource on the back here that you can go in and put in your profile, and it's going to give you an audit of your performance on your profile and give you some other ideas on how you can improve it. This one is kind of interesting. This is a little trick that we found. So another client of ours, dental practice, they've got 20 dental practices in the Midwest. But what we found is that if you embed Google Maps onto the website, that it really improves your rankings. And it's a great user experience as well, because if people are on that location page and they want to click on the map, see where you are in relation to them, they can get direction. So it's adding a lot of value to the visitor as well. But it's incredible. When we embedded the maps onto these location pages, the improvement in the rankings was incredible. So this is a little hack that's really effective. So I definitely make sure that you add these location pages or embed the Google Maps on your location pages, your contact us page or whatever. Some low-hanging fruit. So next piece we're going to talk about are reviews. And bear in mind, pardon me, I'm going to read these, but I think they're that important. So sites that mention Better Business Bureau outrank those without a mention by a median of 18%. So if you're Better Bureau business members, make sure you get that badge on your website, because chances are you're going to be ranking, outranking by 18%, the median. Yelp appears in the top 5 search results for 92% of Google web queries that consist of a city and business category. So what that means is if you're, do a search for dentist, Las Vegas, we've got a service plus a location. 92% of the times, Yelp is going to be in those top 5 results. And so what does that tell you? It tells you you better get on Yelp and get some great reviews, because chances are people are going to go to Yelp and look at the reviews. So it's really important that you get high quality reviews. And then the last one is about businesses with 4 or more stars on Google My Business. I'll rank those with less than 4 stars by a median of 11%. Again, this is really enforcing how important quality reviews are to your rankings on these different platforms so you can get more visibility. There are a lot of different strategies to generate more reviews. And I've got a few here just to give you some ideas. So for example, ask for feedback and then ask for a review if they liked your product or service. I'll give you an example. We had a client who had a LASIK business, a bunch of locations across the Midwest. And we had an automated process where after someone came in for a service, that they would get an email a week later. And the email was, give us your feedback on our service and everything else. There were about 5 questions. And if people gave really good reviews on all 5 of those questions, at the end we say, thank you, if you wouldn't mind, here's a link to our Google and Yelp profiles, we'd love to get a review. Back up, if people had a bad experience and answered those 5 questions really poorly, we're not giving them the link to go review our business. We're saying, thank you, we really value your feedback, we'll get back to you, we really want to make sure this is a good experience for you. And we don't give them the link. So that's one strategy that you can build more positive reviews for your business through some email automation. Asking at the right time. Typically when people are buying something again or asking for another service appointment, that means that they've already kind of validated who you are and they want to do more business with you. That can be another great time to ask for a review. Just building it into your SOPs, your standard operating procedures. So maybe that's somebody at a front desk who has a little postcard where after people come in and buy something, if they're really friendly and nice, maybe we give them the card and ask for a review. I do want to highlight incentives. Both Google and Yelp have rules that strictly forbid giving incentives to generate reviews. So, a lot of people have done things like, write a review and get 10% off. And that's forbidden by Google and Yelp. Now, there are other review providers that may be okay. So I just wanted to give you a heads up so that you have all the information before you try something like that you might be going a little wayward of some of the rules. So do that at your own risk is, I guess, the point. B2b Tier 2, Google AdWords or Google Ads setup. Now, Google's paid platform used to be called AdWords. Now it's called Google Ads. The one thing I want to point out, bear in mind we're only in Tier 2 for B2B on the playbook, but this is something I want all of your B2B companies out there to make sure that you at least set up ads for your brand name. And here's an example why. So Slack is an instant message platform. Some of you may use it already. But when I just typed in Slack, this ad shows up right here for Slack. And some people might say, what? If they're looking for my company, I'm going to show up anyway. So why would I pay for this spot? And the reason it's important is because other people can advertise for your brand name. And so, if they did not buy this real estate, what if I type in Slack and then, another instant messaging platform showed up here in the ad space, right? So someone else could be jumping up there. Or let's say there's an article that's written about you that's really negative. And so then someone types in Slack and all of a sudden they see this, LA Times article that's talking about your company in a really bad light. Well, this is really cheap ad space right here for your brand name. So definitely get ads set up and at least run ads for your brand name to start. Later on, there will be opportunities to get more complex solutions to promote your services and the like. Any questions? We just got through two tiers. Yes, sir.
Going back to the account creation
Yes.
So you're saying that the hit that you get in small shop carts is
So I'll answer the second question because I didn't quite understand the first one, but I'll get back to the first one. The second question was, how do we feel about single sign-on solutions, which basically means once you're signed into one place, you're signed into a lot of other areas. And I feel like that eliminates friction. And anytime we can eliminate friction in the buying process, I think that's a good thing. So we definitely recommend streamlining that process down the conversion funnel as best as possible. And I didn't quite catch that first question.
So the first part is you're saying that by causing people to create a shopping cart, that they have to create an account, that you're going to lose enough shopping carts that it's not worth the value of the email package.
Gotcha. So the question was, by not asking people to fill out an account to buy something, and there's definitely some value in that by asking people to create an account, because then you can go back and target them through additional advertising. And yes, our belief is that by streamlining that checkout process, by not requiring that there's more value in that, because even if they do buy something without creating an account, we still are going to get their information once they buy something, that we can still send emails, confirmation emails, and the like. Does that answer your question? Okay, cool. Yes, sir.
You said it was a cheap ad to buy the Google ads thing. Order of magnitude of cost?
Typically for just your brand name, it could be a quarter.
25 cents.
Yeah, just for your brand name. Let's assume that your brand name isn't, life insurance, company, because that would be extremely expensive. By the way, funny note, those pay-per-click ads that I was talking about, life insurance is typically one of the most expensive keywords you can advertise for. And the reason being is it's an annuity type service where people are getting it for 20 years. So if they can get that one lead and that one customer, they're typically going to get paid for 20 years after that. So those life insurance companies are spending big bucks. It could be close to $100 per click. And that's not even going to say that they might be just looking for an address or something. Oh, really? I know another one was mesothelioma, which is, I think, that type of cancer that you get from the asbestos, because all those attorneys want to get those big payouts, and so they'd be willing to pay a lot of money to get a lead. But I digress. Let's move on to Tier 3. Going to go over to e-commerce. I want to focus on Schema Markup here. And first of all, what is Schema Markup? And this is a place where you can fill out all the information about your products, and you basically hand it to Google. And the history of this is, Google is using these spiders to crawl everybody's website to figure out what's on that page. And so they were missing some things. When these spiders would crawl a website, they'd go, I think this is the dimensions, or I don't know if this is the weight or the price or anything else like that. And so this is a way that you can fill out all this information on the back end. You can say, here are the dimensions, here's the weight, reviews, price, availability, and you provide all this information to Google so they have it right away. This is an e-commerce best practice. The other thing that's interesting is that a lot of that information will show up in your search results. So here are a couple examples that came from filling out this information. So here's a search for Vegas Golden Knights jersey. You can see these guys have free shipping. These guys added a special offer. So within their schema, they listed what the special offer is. These guys have some review schema. So this is a little bit technical, but again, hopefully you've got some in-house resources and or an agency to help you do this stuff. But this is some foundational best practices for e-commerce websites. We're going to bounce over to B2C, and I want to focus in on the questions and answers. And I'm not asking you guys for questions and answers, but this is something that's showing up on local results pages. So my wife teaches natural childbirth classes in Boulder, Colorado, where I'm from. And when I search for her company name, Birth Mojo, this typical result, her website, Yelp, Facebook, and this is her local business listing. And one of the things that's interesting is this questions and answers. And I'm always interested when there are opportunities to get our information that we want on Google, right? And the interesting thing about this is anyone can write the questions and answers, can write the questions. And so when I say anyone, I mean literally anyone. So you see there's 3 questions that are written here. Anybody take a guess who wrote those? It was me, actually. But the cool part is, if someone's checking her out, they see these questions and answers, they go, oh, interesting. Let me check this out. And this is really an opportunity for you to get your strategic advantages out front of the audience. So how long have you been teaching childbirth classes? She's been teaching classes for a long time. So this is something that gives her a competitive advantage over the other instructors in the area. So boom, right away, I'm able to get what she wants to talk about up front. And then there's this next question about what's the difference between your Express Series and a 10-week class. That's a typical question she gets all the time. So it's something that, again, we're able to get what we want on Google, and that can be really tricky sometimes, and it's free. We're not paying for an ad or anything else like that. We're getting free real estate on Google. So this is some low-hanging fruit. So when you fill out your Google business profile, you can go answer some of these questions and really get what you want to talk about out front. And if that wasn't good enough, there's also this feature that Google is showing on their search results pages called People Also Ask. And a lot of these questions, they are pulling answers from this Q&A section. So it's one more opportunity for you to get more traffic to your business. And I love this little hack, so it's a good one. Let's see. Local citations. Going back to this dental example, local citations are different places or directories on the web where you can fill out a business profile. And the more places your profile is filled out, the better. And so it's if we're competing on this this Google Map listings, it's really important to make sure that we've got profiles claimed on geographic and industry-related websites. So, if it's related to the wood industry, it might be on the AWFS site and the like, and as well as geographic areas. And one thing I want to note, when you go and claim your website, and by the way, I've got in the resources packet a couple resources where you can go see how well your profile is showing up on the web, as well as give you other ideas of places where you can go get more profiles claimed. It's really important to make sure you list the name of your business, the address, and the phone number the exact same way every time. Because for some reason, if it's written a little bit differently, they view it as a different company. So I'll give an example here. You can see this address, maybe you can't, but it's 9957 South Roberts Road. There's no dot after S. South is not written out as South. It's just S and RD. And same thing with the phone number. I've got brackets here and then the dash. So every time we fill out a profile for them, we do this address the exact same way. So they call it NAP, name, address, phone number. Make sure you list them the exact same way every single time. It'll boost your authority online because they'll each show that they're the same company. Okay, B2b Tier 3. This one I'm really passionate about, this engagement process. So when I'm talking about engagement process, I believe that people are more likely to engage with you if you show what the process to engagement looks like. So, for example, if I want to work with this company, well, here's what the standard process is to get signed up with us. We're going to have an initial consultation, we'll send you a proposal, and then we can sign a contract. And even something as simple as that, I believe that people are more likely to work with you or provide their information so you can start that process of engagement. The opposite of that is something like this. So I don't know Drift. Apologize if any of you work with them or know of them, but this is an example that I would not recommend. You can see connect your sales teams with future customers now. And then here's this main call to action. First of all, they ask for my business email address. Well, it's like, you're telling me which email address to give you. Like, I'll give you whichever email address I want. I just feel like it's kind of pushy telling me to give you my business email address. And then they say, see Drift on your website. So they're already talking about putting something on my website. I don't know. It feels icky, right? They're asking you to do all this stuff, and I don't even know what's going to happen after that. And so I believe this is not a great engagement process to begin work. Now, this version I feel is a little bit better, and this one is cart to cart. It's if you're switching shopping carts on your e-commerce site, not terribly important. This version is, I think it's a little cluttered, but I'll tell you what I like about it here. So you can drop downs, figure out which carts you want to go to. The very big call to action here is get more details. It's not contact us or sign up now. If you want to get some more information, great. We'll give you a lot more information here. Or, if you already feel comfortable about this, great, you can start your free demo now. Okay, that's cool. And then they also have this little chat bot here. And this is, maybe you don't want to call, maybe you don't want to email, maybe you don't want to demo, but, yeah, I don't mind talking with somebody, with a chat, see if I've got a question. And then they also have a couple options here to talk to sales, talk to technical support. The main thing that they're doing is they're allowing me to engage with their brand in a lot of different ways, so I'm doing it on my terms. And I think the more you can do that, the more effective your conversion rate will be when people are coming to your website. Video content, going back to B2B. This is a chart from HubSpot, and what they're talking about is what kind of content do you want to see from a brand or business you support? And the number one result is videos. Now, this data and this research is pretty broad. They don't have it siloed based on industry, kind of like we do in our playbooks, and it is global. But my key takeaway is that people are looking for more video content, and there are some great ways to engage your audience with video. And I think a lot of businesses have this idea in their mind that video content is so hard, or they think it has to be some really powerful, Super Bowl commercial level production, and it really doesn't. I'm going to show you a video that we created for one of our clients, or just about a minute of it, and it can be pretty simple. As long as you're adding value, I think it's going to be really well received. So Blind Saver, they create blinds. This is one of our clients.
Measuring for inside mount blinds is easy. Before you begin, you'll need a pencil, piece of paper, a steel tape measure, and just a few minutes. Inside mount shades are mounted inside the window frame and are a good choice if your window is deep enough. You can find detailed information on blindsaver.com about how much window depth is required to install the brackets inside your window. Start by measuring the width of the window. Measure the inside opening of your window at the top, the middle, and the bottom. Record the narrowest measurement rounding down.
You get the idea. But the thing I like about that is the production value is not extremely high, right? I mean, we did that video like 5 years ago, and it wasn't terribly expensive, but it's adding a ton of value to their visitors. And that video has gotten 40,000 views already, and they haven't put any advertising dollars behind that. You probably or may not know this. YouTube is the second largest search engine that's out there, and so people are constantly on YouTube searching for a lot of your products and services. So if you've got some great videos, you can put it on your website to engage your visitors. They can also find you through YouTube. It's just a really great opportunity for your business. B2b email automation. So when I talk about email automation, what I'm talking about is setting up email campaigns so people are getting a sequence of emails based on certain trigger points. And one of the great things we love about email automation is, once you set it up, this thing is working for you and sending out, hopefully, hundreds or thousands of emails to your target audience with targeted content. On the B2B side, sometimes people struggle with different types of campaigns that they want to send out or set up. And so I gave you a couple different ideas here. Topic workflow, so somebody downloads a white paper or watches a video around a certain product or service. You can send them a sequence of emails specifically around that specific service. Blog welcome. New customers, I really like this one. So maybe you are providing a service and you onboard a new client. Well, maybe you get them into a little new customer sequence where you talk about best practices that your other customers are implementing. or different things that they can do to make their experience easier. Let them know about your invoicing process and who to expect those from. Just a little welcome guide can be a really nice soft landing when you onboard a new client. And then an event workflow. Obviously, you guys are all here at a trade show, and if you're a vendor and you're exhibiting, we like to set up these sequences. So maybe you're sending out a couple emails before, and or anyone, badges or business cards that you get, that you can enter them into this database, and it'll send these follow-up emails. And the great part about setting up that whole sequence is that when you go to another trade show, you just upgrade the content and dates and all that stuff, and you've got an automatic sequence there. So anyone you come into contact with, you want to get into that database, boom, you've got a lot of emails going out to them. Tier 3, any questions? All right, so we are probably about halfway through. Going to take a little stretch break. I know 90 minutes is kind of a long time. So I found this video. I don't know about you guys, but I get on airplanes or if I'm sitting down, I kind of get a little fidgety. So here's a short 2-minute video. Feel free to get up, stretch, and if you want to learn something about some stretches, we'll get going here another 90 seconds.
So the first one, because you're sitting for so long, the femur is stationary. You want to rotate the connector. So the first one, because you're sitting for so long, the femur is stationary. You want to rotate the connector.
Tier 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't catch that.
I'm sorry. He's
So the first one, because you're sitting for so long, the femur is stationary. You want to rotate the connector.
Let's see. Okay, you guys ready to go? Let's do it. We've got 3 more tiers to go. We just had a question about the purpose of the tiers, and maybe I didn't cover that very clearly in the beginning. The idea with the tiers is that you've got a playbook for where you should spend your time first going through the end. So maybe you've already done tier 1 and parts of tier 2. So then you can go, oh, you know what, I should go back and finish out tier 2 and then move on to tier 3. So you have a logical progression for where you should spend your time and money on growing your business. So e-commerce, let's see, we talked about a number of these things already, but I do want to focus in on the email workflow ideas here. There are a couple different ones from the B2B side. Welcome series is the most common, which is for new e-commerce customers. Someone buys something, and you can set up, 6 emails post-purchase. Some of those might be asking for reviews. You may have a promotion like refer a friend, different ways to engage them once they come in. Reengagement is another one that I really like because this is one where, if someone hasn't bought something from you for a year or so, you can say, all right, I want to take all those people and I want to re-engage them. We want you back, here's 10% off, et cetera, et cetera. Purchase anniversary is another interesting one. Sometimes there is something to when people buy things, and it may be related to where they are in the calendar year. So a lot of times we like to send out an email about 50 weeks after their last purchase because you want to hit them before, about 2 weeks before they bought last year. So B2C, Google Ads set up. The one interesting thing I wanted to point out here, we talked about setting up Google Ads for B2B, for your brand names. B2C, these map listings, there are also opportunities to run ads. And this is pretty valuable real estate. I did a search for Dentist Las Vegas, and you can see this first one has an ad, boom, number 1. That's pretty valuable to get that real estate on Google. So I definitely recommend you set up some Google ads so that your website is going to be showing up here at the top of the map listings. So buying guides. I think this is another great way that you can really engage visitors to your website. There are lots of different styles of buying guides. I think some that are really effective, maybe they show a most popular or recommended solution. You may have seen that on some websites based on different services that you provide. It really kind of helps them focus in on where they should really be. This is a LASIK client we worked with, a 60-second LASIK screener. Am I a candidate? You can see this right here. And this is a great way where they can go through, fill out some information really quickly and let them know whether LASIK is a good option for them. And if not, what are some other services that they might want to check out or might be a good fit for them? So I really want to make sure that you are adding value to the process, to your visitors when they come to the site. These buying guides can be quizzes or little wizards to help them figure out what's the best service for them. It's just another way to add value and engage those visitors. So some of you guys may be wondering about social. We're all the way here on Tier 4 before we get to social. You can tell where I feel social really belongs. I don't think it's something where you should be getting started with it right away. All the other things we talked about in Tiers 1, 2, and 3, I think are going to give you a better chance for digital growth than going to social media. However, I do think there is a place for social. And for B2C, my one recommendation here is that only do the profiles that you're actually going to spend time on. And at minimum, I recommend that people are creating content at least once a week. And the reason being is later on, when we start doing some advertising on some of these social channels, if people go to that ad and then they go to check out your company, and if there's no information there, they're not going to be very impressed with your brand. So I think a lot of people use social to validate your business and what their experience is in other places. So maybe they're on your website and like, check out their Facebook and just see what they're like, right? And so I definitely recommend that at this point you claim some profiles. For B2C, I like Facebook the most at this point. LinkedIn can also be effective. Then I'd bounce over here to Instagram. For e-commerce, I like these top 3 solutions. But again, I would only claim and optimize that which you're going to continue to engage with. So B2B, the second item here is retargeting. This is really a Google Ads display ad. And what this does is it's taking tracking cookies and showing ads on other websites. And I'll show you what I mean here. So this website is WeatherBug. And you can see right here, there's an ad for this Icon Eye Care. This is one of our clients. And when I was putting this deck together, I was on that Icon site for the buying guide. And they put a little cookie, so they're tracking me. And so then when I went to go check the weather in Vegas and it said hot, they showed this ad right here. So this is a great way that you can stay in front of your audience even after they've left your website. And some people feel like it's creepy. I view it as another touch. And there are different statistics around how many touches you need before you can get a customer. And sometimes people say it's 7 touches before you get them. And so this is one more opportunity to get in front of them. For e-commerce, this can also be effective. Maybe you do a 10% off to come back and buy whatever product you were just looking at. But this is a great little strategy here to help get your business in front of those visitors one more time. Any questions? Yeah, on Tier 4? Yes, sir.
For video content,
Yeah.
do you have any kind of tips on optimal length of video for engagement and also placement? Like some people place a video, like the first thing you see on the website, all of a sudden the video is playing. So that's a noise use video.
Yeah. Yeah, so the question was, is there any feedback on length of videos and placement of videos? And there's definitely not a one-size-fits-all answer. And I really would focus on the application and what's the goal. So for example, that blind saver video for measuring blinds. that's not something we need to keep quick. It's really about adding value at that point. Whereas, with social and other things, it's helpful. The attention span is so short nowadays that, if we can communicate our message in 15 seconds, 30 seconds, all the better. So on average, I feel like shorter is better as long as you're still adding value. In terms of placement, I know there are a lot of background videos on websites. We are 50-50 on those. One of the tricky parts about that is it can slow a website down unless you do it really well in terms of compressing that video. So I definitely wouldn't recommend doing that if it's going to slow down your website. But I think as it relates to B2B and B2C, we talk about adding services. On those services pages, I love having a validation video. So here's why our service is great, and maybe here's a customer talking about how they're using it. Here's a how-to video on how to use it. Different ways like that. So I don't know. It's a custom answer for a custom question, I guess.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
And do you have any clients who effectively reuse the video, let's say, for their website onto places like social or even on in-store, right? So they have generated a bunch of videos on, like, here's our process of craftsmanship, right? You could use that video in all three places.
And the question was, do we have clients who use videos in other places other than just the website? And the answer is absolutely. One of the great things about pulling together some of these bigger videos, for example, that measuring guide, we can splice that up into little pieces that we can use all over. And in store is another great option. If you've got people coming into the store where you can utilize that video to, again, improve their experience, add some value to their experience, it's a great idea. So now we're at tier 5. We're getting a little more advanced in our marketing strategies, right? And at this point, I think it's really important to get product videos in place. And again, I want to lower your stress about creating video content because I feel like people get too hyped up. And I want to show you an example of one that I feel like is a very, very simple video that's really effective. We'll see if this works. Oh. Try something here.
Posting up and hanging out for a while? Where on earth are you going to set your drink? Bring along the Linger side table and elevate your cold ones from the ground to keep them perfectly in reach. Don't let the small, lightweight, go-anywhere package fool you. Inside is a full-strength table that sets up quick and painless. The lightweight anodized aluminum frame spreads out easily to give you a solid base. Next, press these cross beams into the notches. Finally, unroll a slat tabletop and secure it in place. Now you've got yourself a table that's built to hold up to 150 pounds. The large, steady platform is ideal for card games, food prep, and of course, s'more assembly. The 600 denier fabric that covers the aluminum slats stops any small items from falling through the cracks. Paired with any of our chairs, the lightweight but super strong Linger side table will make you want to linger just a little bit longer.
So one of the things I really like about that product video, or I feel like video a lot of times can tell your product story a little bit better than pictures and copy, right? Once you've seen that video, you have a pretty good idea how to assemble it, how it works, height, size, everything like that. If we just saw pictures of that and just a little copy about describing the table, it wouldn't give you nearly the experience. Product videos, take a little bit of time. This isn't, maximum production value here, but I feel like it's maximum value added to the product on that website. So I think that's a great example. Email round 2. So at this point, we are going to elevate our automated email campaigns. I've given you some ideas early on in terms of different strategies that you can set up to automate emails to your prospects and clients. At this point, I really recommend that you go back and dig into the data on the performance of those. A/B test, so test different subject lines. You can test different content, images so you can figure out which emails are resonating the best with your audience. And also take the time and look for new opportunities, new workflows that you can set up and engage your audience. So this one's kind of interesting. Loyalty programs. I believe the loyalty programs can be really effective. They are a little involved in getting set up. I think it's Sleek Note. There's a link to this article in here, but one of the things I like is they break down all the different types of loyalty programs: points, paid, charity, tier, partner, community, subscription. Under each one of these, they have a lot of great examples. So if and when you're ready for the loyalty program, I definitely recommend that you check this out. Figure out which loyalty program makes the most sense for your business and get it set up. And the one thing, if you do go down this route, make sure that the rules for the loyalty program are really, really easy to understand. This is an example here. 500 points, $5 off. 1,000 points, $10 off. It's super easy to figure it out. I hate it when companies are hiding the rules or make it really difficult to understand. I'm getting all these points, but how do I redeem them? Just make it super easy so that they can become those loyal customers and coming back. So B2b Tier 5, I want to focus on this interactive tools. And this is kind of a little bit more in that engagement process buying guide, but for the B2B side. There are a lot of different ways you can engage visitors once they come to your site. I've got 3 different examples here. This is a ROI calculator that HubSpot put out. You put in what kind of performance your marketing currently is. If you invest different types of money and oh great, you can have potential to make $420,000 of increase. But you get the idea. There's different ways that you can put in different calculators so people will see the return on investment in terms of working with you. The City of Ontario is a big client of ours. Here's the convention center. So we set up a virtual tour. So you can basically walk the halls of the convention center and see what it's like to be there. And that's a great process to engage the visitors. So people are evaluating this convention center if they want to have their trade show there. This is a great little tool. So this is another interactive tool. They come to the site and they really get a better experience of what it's like to be there. And with this engagement stuff or these tools, we may not be getting a conversion right at the bottom, but what we're trying to do is move them a little bit further down that conversion funnel and hopefully get to that conversion. This last one, this cost calculator. So this has a little wizard. You basically enter in your different data, and it shows you a cost comparison of their service versus other services. So, just something simple that, again, hopefully we can move them a little bit further down that conversion funnel by engaging them with different tools on the website. I start incorporating some paid social ads here, and we're not going to get into this super in depth, but I did want to show you something that I thought was kind of funny. Facebook Marketplace is getting to be a pretty robust option for e-commerce companies. And I was just blown away by the targeting that they nailed me here. So I just set up a little investment account for my 8-year-old. And sure enough, here's this ad about Rich Dad Education. And I've got a couple kids, so they've got some puzzles here, and I have pets. And so, they're showing some pet results. The targeting that's available within social, particularly Facebook, is ridiculous. So I definitely recommend, at this stage, to explore some of those options to engage your audience on social. Chatbots. Chatbots is something that I'm really excited about. This is a way, it's a kind of artificial intelligence, different way to engage your audience. And this is all being done. Now, the goal with chatbots is you're not trying to pretend, you're a person. What you're trying to do is improve that person's experience. So I've got 2 examples here. This product's out of stock. He wants to tell you when it's back. And so we've got chatbot. And so if they click on that, they go, hey, Nick, we'll let you know the moment the product's back in stock. So this is obviously not a person. This is a bot that they set up to engage visitors when they come to the site. So they're conducting business on your behalf, and really it's about streamlining that process, eliminating friction, Here's one more example. This is a really robust example from Sephora, where you can take this quiz and figure out what types of product you're looking for, and they have this whole bot that kind of takes you down this process. This is a way to engage visitors without any human involvement. And another example of this, it'd be, for example, our dentist client. So if someone goes to that Facebook profile, a little chat bot can come up and say, hey, are you looking for information about our doctors or services or locations? And they hit locations, and would you like directions? And they hit directions, and boom, you've just added value to their experience, all by setting up these chatbots in advance. So this is, again, we're getting a little bit more complicated, more advanced, but I think this is pretty cool stuff. So B2b Tier 6, client portals. I love client portals as a way to add value to your customers, and I believe that a robust portal that adds value to your customers will also be an effective sales tool. So if you're adding value through the order processing or invoicing or whatever the case may be, if it's streamlining that business activity, that could be something you can speak to in your sales process. This is how, once you come aboard, this is, what the experience is like, and this is how much easier it is working with us because we've got these online portals where you can do all these different things. Webinars, put my money where my mouth is. I'm doing a webinar at the end of the month. Webinars can be really effective because you can capture leads that way. You can generate more inquiries. We're obviously creating some video content by doing this. So there are a lot of benefits to just creating that initial content that you'll be able to utilize and engage your audience further on down the road. So careers pages is another opportunity I feel like is great for B2B type companies or B2B industries. And the reason being is I feel like the way you treat your potential clients or your potential employees really reflects on you as a brand. And so if you've got this, again, that dentist client, but here's an example of their careers page. And when you come to the site, you see transform lives. It's not just a list of jobs. Come here, have a career. Got some options to search, different icons to find some more information, a little bit of storytelling, a little bit of benefits analysis here. So I believe, quality talent is a real strategic advantage, and attracting that talent is obviously going to be important. But also, I think this reflects on your brand in a big way. Any questions? Okay, one thing I want to talk about. So we talked about these different tiers and kind of the playbook and process that I believe you should take to grow your business. A lot of these strategies can require some technical expertise, and some of you may not have the skills to execute all of them or the in-house team to execute all of them, so you may need to engage an agency like Fruition. And I want to make sure that you ask these 3 questions before working with any agency. Number 1, ask to speak to the project manager. A lot of times people are talking to a really slick sales guy or something else, but they aren't actually engaging with the people who they're going to be working with on a daily basis. And I think it's really important to talk to those project managers, to see if that's someone you want to work with. What's their style and the like. Another question I like to ask those project managers is, how many clients are you managing? We hear these horror stories of these agencies out there where there's one project manager and they have 25 clients. And how's that going to be for a work experience when you need to engage with them on a regular basis and they've got 24 other clients that they're trying to work with? And so I think that's a really important question to ask. Examples of their work. Every digital agency should have examples for all of their work. If they don't, obviously that's a big red flag, but they should have multiple examples so they have the experience. And then how many clients and employees they have, that kind of ties back to this project manager question. If they've got 5 employees and 200 clients, and it's really service heavy ask that you need from them, obviously that's going to be a red flag as well. So, I do want to mention, I guess we're supposed to ask you guys to review the talks and the materials. Oh, yes, sir.
What's a typical
Great question. My answer to that is, there's a website at every budget level. You can get a website for free now, and you can get a website, that's, 6 figures. We kind of break it down into brochure-style websites versus e-commerce websites, and what are all the features and functionality that are required. If you are looking for a budget that's under, or if your budget is under $10,000, typically that's not going to have e-commerce. It's not going to have a lot of features and functionality. You may not even have to go to an agency. There's actually a website called Upwork.com where you can find digital contractors who specialize in one specific area. So, if your budget's under 10, I recommend checking out Upwork to find someone to create a website for you in that regard. E-commerce sites, typically the functionality starts ramping up, right? So you've got to set up fulfillment, payment processing, possibly some email automation, and things start ramping up from there. So, at Fruition, we don't work with sites for less than $50,000, but that's not necessarily fit for everybody. We understand that. So it really kind of depends on where your budget is and finding the right solution. Does that answer your question? Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
You talked a lot about Facebook, but I'm wondering if you've got any data about the reviews and recommendations on there. Like, do you recommend your clients get those, or would you prefer Google reviews?
Good question. The question is Facebook, and do we recommend getting reviews on Facebook? And my answer to that would be, where is your audience primarily? And most of the time, I think, especially in this industry, I would recommend Google and Yelp as a place to get the reviews. Now, if your audience is on Facebook quite a bit and you've got some paid campaigns going there, I definitely recommend focusing some reviews there so that when they go to validate you, as we talked about, that you've got the reviews there as well. Yes, sir?
Speaking of Facebook and paid promotion, how do you feel valuing that given the landscape of click farms?
Yeah, question is paid promotion on Facebook. So as it relates to business advertising, Facebook is pay to play. If you are creating content, they say the average that your content is being shown is about 1%. So if you have 1,000 likes on your page and you post something about your company's new products, organically, only 10 people out of that 1,000 likes are going to see that content. So if you want your content to be seen by your followers, then you really have to put some money behind it. So we definitely, if you get to that point and you feel like Facebook is a good opportunity for you based on the targeting, then you're going to need to put some dollars behind it for it to get seen. So does that answer your question?
Oh, kind of, but I guess you're paying for fake, or for going out with some fake followers because of all the click farms and stuff. So that's what I'm saying, is it actually having value of those 1,000? Facebook has a problem, most of those aren't real. They're click farms in it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So
That's what I'm saying, is the value there?
I gotcha. So click fraud is what we call that, and that's pervasive across all platforms. Google has that issue. Facebook has that issue. Really, you kind of go into it knowing that there's a percentage of your ad spend that's going to be not seen by your target audience. And I think the way I'd answer that is, if there's a targeting opportunity that I think is a great fit for my business, I'm willing to take that risk. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So you mentioned some things to look for when you're hiring an agency to help you.
Yes.
What if you've already hired an agency? What are some red flags that you should abort your mission with them?
Great question. The question is what to look for if you're already working with an agency. And at this point, I think understanding these concepts of where you're spending your time and money from the playbook is the first place to start. But really, it gets down to the data. And you should be able to see every single month, or this is what my company provides. We provide a list of tasks that were completed for the month and the results that it generated. And whether that's through email or Google Analytics. We talked about my favorite report up there. All that, and let me rephrase this. This is one of my favorite parts about this business is it's so tangible. We can track how many visits came to the website, how many people signed up, and how many dollars that generated. And so they should, or you should be getting reports that show you exactly how the performance of those campaigns looked. And if you're not seeing a positive trend line, then I think that should be a red flag. So I think between asking them for a detailed report of the work that was completed, as well as all the data behind the results, you should be able to get a real good idea of how the performance of the agency at that point. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
You mentioned briefly talking about geo-targeting on
Yes.
Google Maps, et cetera. You also mentioned geo-targeting, say like AWFS. I want to link up
Yeah.
to that.
Mm-hmm.
Could you talk just a bit more about that? Because I didn't quite really understand what you were driving towards. Like, what's the benefit? How does that generally work?
I'm trying to go back and think of that example.
You can move on.
Okay. Well, the question was around geo-targeting and targeting AWFS. Oh, I think what I was talking about was claiming those business listings that are related to the industry. But I will go back and talk about some geo-targeting. There's some really cool things called geofencing. So, for example, we can run ads to anyone who is here at AWFS on the display campaign. So maybe you're in one of your apps, and we can show a little display ad to anyone who's at the convention center. And so there's some really cool things you can do there. That's on the Google Display Network. So if you want to run some display ads, you can box it in on who you want to show those ads to, so it's a really targeted audience. And that can be effective, certainly at trade shows where you've got, maybe you are going to a trade show and you know that everybody who's attending there is a really quality client or prospect, then that could be a great opportunity to target, and that's through something called geofencing. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Going back to kind of video content, I think YouTube is a place to host it, or when do you go say like more private hosting service, like Wave or something like that? Then I got a follow-up.
Sure, yeah. We definitely recommend YouTube. And it goes back to that reason that YouTube is the second largest search engine. So using YouTube to host your videos, obviously you're going to get video content on your website, and you've got an option to generate traffic on YouTube by people searching for those products or services. And one more thing I'll add on video content is one of the ways Google measures websites and how quality they are is metric, the time on site. How long people spend on your website. Do they come to your site, hang out for 30 seconds and leave? Or are they coming and hanging out for 2.5 minutes or 5 minutes? And Google says, wow, those people are hanging out. They must be getting a lot of value. And one of the things we like about video content is it makes your site stickier because people are sticking around to watch videos. And that's increasing the time on your site, which Google's saying, oh, wow, this site is even more valuable, or it's adding a lot of value to visitors. We're going to rank this one higher and get more visibility. And you had a follow-up?
Yeah, follow-up to that would be kind of what you're saying there. But in videos on YouTube, they find it on YouTube.
Yes.
In your descriptions, links that are exceptionally long. Post, URL to category page, whatever.
Yeah.
Should it be your URL or use something like tiny URL and apply so you can customize it to something small for mobile access or?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that too? Mostly for click-through rate. Yeah, I mean, people have to get to that description
Sure.
first.
So the question is, on your YouTube video page, in the description where you tell people what's on that video, you should be including a link to your website or that product page, service page, whatever. And the question is, what kind of link should it be? Should it be, a shortened link? You may have seen like bit.ly or goog.gl, something really short, or should it be long? And one of the things that we recommend on your website is that you customize your URLs so that they're very descriptive, but as short as possible and still being descriptive. So I think that is the right answer for the description in your YouTube content, is hopefully it says, company.com, category X, and then product name. And so people know where they're going. I think that's the biggest reason I like it, is they know exactly when they see that link, that's exactly where I'm going. That's the content I want to go see. Cool. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yep. So I view Vimeo for people who are more robust video creators versus YouTube, and I think it has a larger data studio where you can edit and create and the like. I'm not super familiar beyond that. We've always played in the YouTube space because of the opportunities for additional traffic and rankings. So that's my knowledge to that extent. Again, the question was YouTube versus Vimeo. All right. So if you want to contact me, there's my information. I definitely thank you all for coming. Please fill out the speaker reviews. Love your feedback. And handout reviews. Apparently there's a competition. Who has the best handout? So hopefully you got some value there. And have a great show.